Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Intan Devi Atika Sari. I want to answer from Miss Nani's question about teaching learning process of my comprehension test. Now I will answer from the first question is about the skills that the millennials should have from this era is there is some skills namely first skills is critical thinking. Critical thinking here is a skills that millennials should have because millennials should have thinking more critical and deeply onto something. And then the second skill is about creative skill. Creative skill is a skill that also millennials should have to think more creative. Creative here means they should have think, or they should have opinions out of the box from the usual, or has a different perspective onto something. And the third is about literacy skill. Literacy skills here means information, media, and technology literacy that will make students or the millennials can filter any information they already get before, so that the millennials cannot affected by the hoaxes out there from the internet. And the next skills is about flexibility. Here, flexibility means that students or the millennials should be able to be placed in any condition and any place. And then leadership skill. Here, leadership skills means that the millennials should be a leader from their group, or they should be a leader from herself or their self to achieve their goals, to doing something or to done something. And then number 2, my opinion is yes, Merdeka Belajar is very related with those skills, because in using curriculum Merdeka Belajar, beside they understanding about the materials, or they increase their knowledge, they also increase their skills like critical thinking, creative, and they will increase their skill and in literacy skills. And then the next is the differences between curriculum of Merdeka Belajar and curriculum 2030. The differences is in curriculum Merdeka Belajar, they underlined on the process of learning. So the students will be observed by their process in learning to get to know the materials, and students freely to access the source, like they can get the source from anywhere. Can be a book, internet, or something else. While the curriculum 2013 is still seems like conventional teaching process where the score and the grades is very important, and it can make the students with the lower grades can lose their interest in learning something. And then the fourth question is about blended learning. So blended learning is a mixed model that conducted in this era, because blended learning itself is a teaching learning process or teaching learning activity that conducted with two ways. That conducted in two ways. One way is having online class through application meeting platform, online meeting platform, like Zoom meetings and Google Meets. And then beside the teacher doing online learning classes, they also teaching their students directly face to meet in a classroom. And then number 5 is about competencies. Number 5 is competencies that students have in correlation to their learning process. The competencies are, the first is understanding. Understanding is a cognitive skill that student has to get to know the knowledge. And the second competencies is about skill. Skill is ability of students to get to know the knowledge or in learning process. And the third competencies is knowledge. Knowledge is the information that students receive from anywhere, can be from the teachers, from books, or internet. And then the next is interest. Interest is very important in learning process, because when there is a student with no interest, they will feel difficult in doing learning in a class or in something. They feel difficulties, or they always think that learning is very hard or difficult. And then the next is value. Value is a norms that always takes with the students about their behavior. So if a students have a good behavior, they will affect their value, because the value can make the students the value is and the value can make the students more responsible with what are they doing. While the last question is about the purposes of education. Here, the purpose of education, the purpose of education. First, it comes to Socrates. It comes from Socrates, where he states that education is to seek the truth, and the second opinion is from Aristotle. Aristotle states that education is the preparation to get the better life. From the two opinions above, I think the purpose of education can make a change for students' life, because the more higher education that she or they get, they will affect their future life, such as they will get a good job, good occupation, they will get a good or better life than before. And then from education, the more high their education, they can mix a lot of connection or colleges. Okay, that's all about my opinions. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.